So in this video, I'll be doing an unboxing, setup and review of the Keystone 3 Pro, which is the successor to the Keystone. I don't think there is a Keystone 2. This is from the same team that originally released the Kobo Vault, which unfortunately Kobo discontinued. And then the product was relaunched as the Keystone, which is essentially the same hardware, just under a new brand. And now this Keystone 3 is a totally new device built from the ground up. So let's get into it. And if you haven't already done so, hit subscribe, and that way you can stay in the loop for content I make to help you find your way in the crazy and often hostile environment that is cryptocurrency. Okay, so this is the box right here. Let's just take off the shrink wrap and get into it. So this is everything that comes in the box. Basically, we've got the box itself, and it also comes with an adhesive pad here, which has a hilarious label saying, stick this adhesive pad onto here and use this packaging as a drawer. Comes with an instruction manual, which just has basic information in a few different languages, which is always good. Comes with a USB-C to USB-C charging cable. And it also comes with 6 recovery sheets, which might seem a bit excessive, but the thing that's clever about it actually is the instructions on the back of each of these recovery cards are in a different language, which is fantastic for being able to sell something all around the world and being able to read it in your native language, regardless of whether it's English, Japanese, or whatnot. And here we actually have the Keystone 3 Pro itself. And this sheet here actually tells us what all of these things are in terms of charging port, micro SD, fingerprint scanner, and camera. And look, just for comparison's sake, if we put it side by side with the original Keystone Pro, we can see it's a similar sort of size and thickness, though this one is a bit smaller and a bit sleeker. Not that it really makes a huge difference. One of the things you'll notice with this Keystone is that it actually has a USB port that can be used for firmware updates and things like that, whereas the previous one did not. The battery for this one is also not removable, it's just built in. It only has one button, so let's just fire it up and see. There we go. Keystone, 90%, that's nice. Firmware 0.8.1.0. Okay, so do we just touch that? What's this button? So we'll go English. Verify your device. Please access the link below and click Start Verification. Okay, and let's just use an iPhone for this. So we'll just visit that website, verify. Verify device for Keystone 3 and 3 Pro. So I'll just press that. Refresh QR code. Okay, so on here we'll just say scan QR code. We'll just scan that. There we go. Input this verification code into the website to verify the device. Okay, so we'll just say next on here on the phone and just punch in those numbers. There you go, authenticated, your device is secure. So we'll just say success. Firmware update. Let's just try via micro SD card. Let's do it the old fashioned way. Is there Bitcoin only firmware yet? No, we'll just stick with the SD card update. So we've got a micro SD card that is formatted as per the instructions here. There we go, and we'll just save that onto the micro SD card and we'll stick it into the micro SD slot, which is behind a cover now on this one. So that just goes in there. So that's in there now. And now we will just press the update button. We'll see how we go. Okay, firmware update. Skip. So that just put us back to that same screen. Oh, okay, so now we're running firmware version 1.0.0. Nice. So, and we've already done the verification, so we won't worry about that again. And look, we'll skip firmware update since that is done. Okay, so the firmware is up to date. Let's just run through the workflow for if you would have a new device and say create wallet. So firstly, we can set a PIN code, though this is interesting. You can actually set a password rather than just a PIN. This is for unlocking this device only. So that's good, but for the sake of the demo, we'll just do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Customize your wallet. Assign a name to your wallet and give it an icon. Oh, that's fun. Okay. Let's call it demo. So just like on the previous device, we get 2 options. We can have a standard seed phrase or a Shamir backup, that is slip 39. We'll just go with the standard one now, just for the sake of simplicity. Gives us a good warning. Defaults to 24 words. Now the question is there any way that we can choose our own entropy with dice rolls? We can change it to 12 words, but checksum is better on 24, so we'll use 24. Okay, so we'll just transcribe those words onto here. So let's confirm the words. So tap the words in order to confirm your seed phrase. Okay. So we verified all 24 words. Okay. So we can store this in a secure place. So let's just say we have Bitcoin. Got it. Right, so let's pause native SegWit by default. We can change that in there. What else do we have? So we can turn on and off all these other things. What else can we do? Connect wallet software. Here we go. All right, so these are all of the wallets. So if we want to pair this and send some Bitcoin, so let's just say Blue Wallet. Okay, so we'll open up Blue Wallet on this iPhone. So we're going to say add now. We'll just call it demo in here. Okay, so let's say import wallet. So basically now we'll say scan or import a file, and we'll just hold this over here. Right, so this animated QR code has actually included information for multiple wallets, so we'll just stick with the native SegWit one. There we go. Imported watch only. There it is. Okay, so we've got that wallet in Blue Wallet now, and if I go into here into Bitcoin and hit receive, I should see the same address that I see here on the phone, which I do. So let's just quickly send some Bitcoin there. Oh, there we go. So we can actually see now that transition is coming in and it's pending here in Blue Wallet, which is great. So that Bitcoin transaction has confirmed, so let's send that back. So I'll just say send. It'll say, do you want to enable it for an offline signer? We'll say okay. Okay, and I'll just send that back to a tip address. So we'll just click here and say use full balance. Yep. We'll say next. All right, so there is the transaction. So basically here with the Keystone 3, we just scan that. There we go. So there are the details of the Bitcoin transaction, and that is what we expect. We can also look at all the details, which show us all of that. So that's good. So we'll just slide that over to confirm. Now we enter the PIN. Okay, and there is the transaction. Over here on Blue Wallet, we'll just say scan sign transaction, scan the animated QR, and there is our transaction. And we can either verify that on Coinbin, or we can just say send now. And there we go. Done. So now the thing I'm curious about is whether this actually still works with things like Sparrow. So let's go back into the Connect Software Wallet screen, go back to Blue Wallet. And if we go into Sparrow, let's just see. So if I say new wallet, and let's just see. So if I say connect air-gapped wallet and scan Keystone, yeah, so we can still use it with Sparrow as well, which is nice. Okay, so it works in Sparrow, and that's our single sig wallet there. The question is, can we also use this in multi-sig? So let's say multi-sig. No. Now, I'll just run through how to use this with Metamask. This is actually a good spot to highlight one of the advantages with Keystone, in that it's one of the few hardware devices you can actually use with Metamask on your mobile. So we're going to click that little arrow next to account 1. We're going to click this button down here that says add account or hardware wallet, and we're going to say add hardware wallet. So basically here it gives us the instructions on how to do this with the Keystone. So we'll say continue, and then we are going to scan that QR code right there. There we go. So we can now choose the Ethereum accounts from this device onto here. So we'll just choose account 0 and say unlock. There we go. So we can see Keystone 0. And we've got this address here now that we've selected. And if we now go back into the Keystone, into Ethereum, we can see that the address we're getting here is the same one that we are seeing over here. And look, I'll just send some Ethereum there. I'll just scan the QR code straight off the device. There we go. So let's just demonstrate the workflow for sending the Ethereum. I'll just click the up and down arrows on the bottom of Metamask and just say send. And let's just, so we'll just send that to my tip address. Say next. We'll just use max. Next. And so there's the transaction on Metamask. So we will say confirm with Keystone. So there we go. So we've got a QR code there. So now over on the Keystone, we're going to click this orange button here, and we'll just scan this QR code. There we go. So now we can see the full transaction details here on the Keystone. So we can confirm the details of that transaction. And we just slide the little thing across. And now we have to enter the PIN. So there is the transaction. So now we're over here on Metamask. We'll say get signature. We'll just scan that. And it has now submitted the transaction. So there we go. All right, so while we're here, let's have a look at what else this device can do. So if we click on that little menu button here, we can turn assets on and off. So there's a bunch of, so there's Bitcoin, Ethereum, a bunch of Cosmos related stuff. That's pretty much it. Let's have a look in device settings. So we'll click on the three dots, go into device settings. Let's see wallet settings. So we can change the name, passphrase. We can also do a recovery check, which is good. Actually, the other thing that's interesting here is there's an option to add a wallet, because this device actually lets us store up to 3 separate recovery seeds in it. So if I say add wallet, I'll just enter in the PIN. So whenever it's asking for a passcode, that's just PIN. Okay, so it's 3 different devices and you can have a different passcode for each wallet. Fingerprint. Turn on the fingerprint. So let's just give that a go. Oh, okay, so there's scan the fingerprint multiple times. Move your finger around in different positions on there while you're doing it. All right, added successfully. Done. So we can use the fingerprint to sign transactions or unlock the device. We can basically choose what it's going to do. So we can verify the fingerprint. There we go. And multiple fingerprints. How many do we get to have? Okay, so we can have up to 3 fingerprints. So if I say add wallet, okay, so let's try a different passcode for this second wallet. We have all zeros. Okay, so the passcode it's asking for here is the first one we set. So I'm guessing it's going to ask us to enter a new passcode for the new wallet. So let's just run through what it looks like to have a second wallet. New wallet. Okay, so this is the same process we had before. So if we click import wallet, and we set a new PIN, so this is going to be the PIN for wallet number 2. So I'll just do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 duplicate. Okay, so it doesn't let us use the same one. So let's just say 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. Just import the seed from the previous video I did on the cold card MK4 that you can check out over here. So we'll just call this cold card. We'll just say single, 24 words, and we'll just enter this seed in. Alright, so that seed is on there, and if we go into Bitcoin and hit receive, we can see that the address we're getting here is the same as the first native SegWit in the address explorer on the cold card, so that is working as we would expect. Okay, so now that I have 2 wallets on here, when I unlock the device, the PIN I use will determine which wallet is opened. So that's demo with the PIN I had at the beginning. If I lock that and unlock it and use the other PIN, this takes us to the cold card wallet. Right, okay, so each PIN has a matching wallet that it is associated with. So that's handy for a bunch of reasons. Okay, so let's have a look at some of the other device settings. So we've looked at wallet settings, and we've got a few different wallets there. Let's have a look at system settings. So we've got display and lock screens, there's brightness. Let's turn the auto lock up. I'll turn the idle timer to 10 minutes because 1 minute is very short for this sort of thing. And look, we'll just set auto shutdown to 1 hour, just so it doesn't run itself flat. And what else do we have? We have vibration, verify your device, and wipe your device. That's it. Connection, so we can turn USB on and off, and about. So there we go. So this is just running firmware 1.0. And that's pretty much all there is to it. So the other question I've got is whether the smart contract verification is still here. So let's go on here and say we want to do something like a swap. And if we just swap for, say, USDC. So look, let's just say 0.001 and to USDT, and we'll just say continue. We're not actually going to send a transaction, so it doesn't really matter what it is. Okay, so swipe to swap. So basically here is the transaction on our Keystone. So the question is, how does the Keystone represent that? So that's just showing us the smart contract. If we click on details, do we see anything? Unknown contract. Okay, let's load this up with some ABI information. So we'll follow the same process for the original Keystone. So we'll go onto their GitHub and we'll just download their smart contract metadata here. We'll download the latest release, which is just from June, so it's quite recent. We'll just save it straight to the a micro SD card. Okay, and now that has finished downloading, we'll just right click on that. I'm just going to use 7-zip on here, just to say extract here. That should give us the folder structure we need. Okay, so that is unzipped now. Okay, so we've got that on our micro SD. We'll just stick it in here. Update available. So I didn't delete the contracts.zip file, and it thinks it is a firmware update, so we'll just say not now. So now let's try again. So we'll get our transaction here. We'll say Ethereum. Let's try again. So we'll scan that, swap, and let's see if it can decode the ABI now. Okay, so there is the transaction. If we click on details, let's see, unknown contract. So whatever Metamask is using for a swap is not supported. All right, so we'll just give SushiSwap a go, and I'm actually on desktop Metamask now, not that that actually makes a difference in this particular instance. So we'll just do like 0.01 ETH, not that we're worried about actually doing a swap, we just want a transaction that we can see and decode. And basically I'll just scan that transaction. And if we click on details, that's much better. So basically you can see here, that's actually giving us the detail about the smart contract interaction, and we can actually see the method that's being called on the smart contract, and we can actually see, you know, where the funds are coming from, where the funds are going back to, as well as things like the deadline. So basically what this means is because we can see all of this information that has been decoded from this smart contract interaction, we can be confident that we are signing exactly what we think we're signing, and that our wallet software isn't lying to us, and also that we're not on some sort of phishing website as well, trying to execute something malicious. So that is fantastic. All right, so this actually highlights two things. Firstly, it's really good that the feature of transaction decoding has found its way from the original Keystone into the Keystone 3, which is great, particularly when you consider the way that it helps to boost the safety if you're someone who's doing like DeFi stuff or Ethereum chain things like that. And I cover that in more detail in this video here. One of the other things that it highlights, particularly with this transaction that we just looked at here, is that transaction decoding and being able to see what's going on inside of all these different DeFi smart contracts and stuff is still a work in progress. So, you know, your results will vary dramatically depending on which DeFi platforms you're using, which smart contracts you're using, and whether you or people in these projects you're involved with is prepared to spend the time actually importing their smart contracts in a way so they can be decoded in a useful way. Now, in terms of open source, Keystone have committed that the Keystone 3 will be open sourced, but that's not something that is going to happen until November 23. This is something you'll have to wait until later to check out. All right, summary time. So the Keystone 3 is a major refresh compared to the previous Keystone devices, both in terms of the hardware platform they are running, as well as the software that is running on top of that platform. The previous Keystone devices were basically Android based with an app running on top, whereas these new ones are actually running natively on the embedded hardware themselves. And this is actually generally a good move in terms of security, in that it means that the firmware running on the Keystone 3 devices has a smaller attack surface than the software running on the Keystone 2 devices, because you don't have the whole Android operating system with millions of lines of code running on that device as well. Some of the new features, like the ability to have multiple seeds that are all unlocked using a different pin, you know, those are fantastic. If you are a mainstream user of a device like this, all the features you need are pretty much there already. You know, just basic stuff like DeFi, Ethereum based stuff, tokens, single signature Bitcoin for a couple of accounts, you know, all of that stuff works and works well today. It's only really if you are in the minority of users who want to do things that are a bit more paranoid or a bit more complicated, like using dice to add your own entropy, doing multi-sig, using services like Casa or things like that, that the functionality that was in things like the Bitcoin only firmware is still not available and may not be available for a few months yet. The Keystone 3 continues to build on what the previous Keystone devices did very well. You know, it provides you a really secure setup that is easy to use, especially if you're someone who only has a mobile and not a PC. The documentation it comes with is excellent now, especially in multiple languages, and even the instructions and prompts that it gives you along the way are very good. I've also gone and added it to my hardware wallet feature comparison on my website. There's a summary table there, and you can also just click through and see all of the feature by feature breakdowns that produce the scores. And you can actually see that its overall score is better than the original Keystone Pro, though it's still not up there with the Keystone Bitcoin only firmware. And that's mostly due to the fact that some of the really advanced features like multisig aren't there yet, adding your own entropy is not there yet, and the device is actually not yet open source either. But this may change in the future, so definitely keep an eye on it. Thanks again for the team at Keystone for sending out the sample, and if you think a Keystone would help boost the security of your setup and want to help me out in the process, there's an affiliate link in the description. If you have any questions about the device or any comments you'd like to make, just leave a reply in the comment section. I'll do my best to answer all of them. Other than that, stay safe. Thanks for watching, I hope that was helpful. Hit like if you think that other people would find this video useful, and hit subscribe if you'd like to be kept in the loop about future content I make that helps people stay safe in the crypto space and to recover if they get into trouble. If you have any questions about this video or a topic that you'd like me to cover, just leave a reply.